I believe.
Yeah, the diesel program was a hit. So
So,
where are we at now?
so right now we're in the collision refinishing shop. So as of right now, are in the refinishing section, actually refinishing 2 section of the program. So like diesel, it's broken up into 4 sections. We have collision 1, collision 2, refinishing 1, refinishing 2.
Okay.
So right now we're in the refinishing 2 portion of the class. So these students have been through the collision piece where we're talking about parts replacement, panel replacement. Can you take something apart without breaking all the clips and put it back together?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So the headlights, bumpers, fenders, doors, all those, anything that bolts on, take off, put back together.
Okay.
Some disassembly there. And then we'll get into some body work, so basic body damage, whether it's more
Dents
like a
and
hail
scratches.
dent. Yes, yeah. So like hail damage. We'll work all the way from a hail dent on up to about a, I don't know, 4 to 6 hour dent.
Okay.
On some of these vehicles. So they'll have to do that for their projects. After that, we get more into, excuse me, some welding. So the students will start off right off the bat, usually with 3 days straight, 8 hours a day welding, learning how to use a MIG welder, understanding the process. We do everything by ICAR standards in here. So ICAR is the industry leader in the collision world.
Okay.
So in fact, all of our lessons are ICAR lessons that we teach. We're part of their PDP program, so that allows us to offer students certifications as well. So they'll get their intro certifications by doing certain modules, and they'll work up to their Pro Level 1 in non-structural and Pro Level 1 in refinishing while they're here.
Okay.
And they have the opportunity to get those certifications because they got to pass the test.
Right, right.
It's not something that's just guaranteed.
Gotcha.
So they've got to work through it. So they'll spend days in the welding area, you know, butt with backing, butt welds, lap welds. They'll have to do plug welds, 5/16 and 1/4 inch plug welds. So they'll have to go through and do all of those welds proficiently, right? On one worksheet, and then we'll bring out another worksheet. They'll have to even do more, including some aluminum welding and some silicone bronze welding as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So after they go through those procedures, they'll go through and learn more about structural repair. So you'll see the frame rack over here. They'll get a vehicle up on this car liner over here. They'll learn how to look it up on the computer, understand how to set it up onto the frame rack. And you know, we have programs here that they have to utilize. All Data, CCC, estimating system, ShopKey Pro. You know, they've got to look up all of these parts, components, and how to do certain procedures. When we start talking about structural repair, they got to look up the information on the Carliner Vision over there and find out the specs. And we usually go to a yard here around here in town and find a vehicle that has been damaged to put up on this rack, and then they'll go through the whole frame straightening procedure on that vehicle.
Sure.
Okay, so they have a good understanding of what it takes to repair that vehicle. So after they're done doing that, they'll put it all back together, and we'll get the next group in, and they'll go through the same procedure.
Okay.
Usually we have a few vehicles that we can do that with. So as the structural part goes in the repair world, we'll actually go through and have the students on their project vehicles that we have in here. They'll go through and look up sectioning techniques for the rocker area, if it's a uniside, the A-pillars, where they do those sectioning techniques, and we'll make them go in and actually splice and section a piece in there.
Okay.
According to what they're allowed to do from what All Data, or I should say CCC, allows them to do. We got to follow all the different types of repair processes that are done by the OEM manufacturer, and why that's so important that we follow those repair procedures. That car's been tested and tested and tested to be able to withstand certain tolerances or certain accidents and what happens in that, and what's allowed to move and what's not allowed to move. So we've got to make sure we're duplicating that, exactly what was done from the OEM industry.
Nice.
So as we walk through, we do go through plastic repair. So showing them how to weld bumpers properly with a nitrogen welder or an iron, and then going through and using 2-part repair material, rebuilding tabs on the plastic repair end of things. A lot of masking going on in the refinishing section, so showing them the different types of masking techniques and the products that are used out there in today's industry. and then really trying to do the best we can to really stress best demonstrated practices. Doesn't matter whose paint line you're using or product you're using, as long as you're really following their best demonstrated practices, that's the key. Today we're a PPG shop. We've been many others over the years. Once again, I've been here for a little while, but today we're PPG. We're using the Aquabase line, or sorry, EnviroBase, excuse me, line, which is all water-based product. And we do teach some solvent as well, because we do not know where these guys are going to go in the industry. You know, we got a lot of states that are represented on the campus. We have students from all 50 states here.
Yeah.
So we don't know where they're going to go. So we want to make sure they understand the processes of mixing paint and how to use the computer to mix paint.
Cool. So we got some welding booths here, and they're all ventilated, so you know, it protects the students from harmful gases with the stuff that they're welding on. Got Lincoln welders on there.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Yeah, and we have different bars and things on these. So, you know, it's one thing to weld flat, but horizontal, vertical, overhead, those are the days you live for, is having a piece of slag go down your ear. So
Yeah.
we make sure that we supply them the gloves, we supply them the welding sleeves, the helmets. You know, if a student wants to bring in his or her own personal protection, we have no problem with that. But we supply everything that they need. If they want to go out and get themselves an auto darkening helmet and a fancy pair of gloves, we have no problem with that whatsoever.
That's what I did.
Huh?
My own helmet and my own gloves.
Yes, most definitely. I have my own stuff as well.
Yeah.
So.
Right,
So,
looks like we're in the paint booth here.
Yeah, in the paint area, these guys are actually going through and building tri-coat let-down panels.
Okay.
Give them an idea of the different effects of different amount of mid-coats as they put on their product. They'll go through and do about 4 different layers, compare it to the prime formula, and just have a good understanding of how to match different paint on a vehicle.
Oh, that's important. Can be a hard thing to do.
If you want, take a look at our mixing room here, which is a mess.
Well, it's a mixing room. It's
It's a mixing room, that's for sure.
That's cool.
We have a lot of different paint guns for them to choose. A lot of Setas, some Iwatas. Once again, we're not one product specific, as much as we can. We got a recycling system in here, so we can recycle solvent.
Okay. All
This is
of
the
it.
Omni solvent system, and then we've got the EnviroBase PPG system over here. We start off with the solvent, the Omni product first. Once again, it's a little cheaper line of product. The students are just learning and understanding how to mix paint, and we'll start them off here. But at the end of the class, we'll move over to the EnviroBase, because they'll do their spot repairs with the EnviroBase, and they'll also do their PPG painter cert test with the EnviroBase as well. So they have an opportunity to come out with a painter certificate, student painter certificate through PPG.
Oh, wow, that's cool. That's something I wish I knew how to do, mixing paint. Pretty cool.
Well, you got the John Deere oil can, right?
Yeah, that's all I need. John Deere green, done.
It works.
John Deere green paint is the best.
So,
Their paint is pretty good.
you bet.
All right, so we got a powder coating.
Yeah, so
Operation
over here in
there.
the corner, we got a powder coating oven. So if the students would like to learn how to do powder coating, if they have the opportunity, they can. Anything that fits in that oven, because that oven bakes up to about 420 degrees, because it's really an electrostatic charge of the parts. That's the paint, or the powder spraying is going to electrically have a charge. One part's negative, one part's positive.
Yep.
It tracks it to it, and then you put it in there, and it flows that powder out. To where these paint booths bake up to about 100, and they could probably go up to 160, but we bake most everything about 140 degrees for about 15, 20 minutes. Once again, we go by manufacturer specifications on the product.
Okay. That's awesome.
So,
Okay,
all right.
now we're over in, where are we at now?
So this is our specialty building. So right now we came in from the other building, and we're in the specialties building.
Yeah, we gotta
So-
walk across the parking
And
lot.
walk across the parking lot, and this is our street rod program that we're currently in right now. So
This is one class I wish I could have taken, because, you know, You can learn a little bit about painting, chopping tops, a little bit more sheet metal work.
Most definitely. It's all about metal fabrication in here.
Yeah.
There's going to be welding, both MIG and TIG welding in here on both steel and aluminum. And you're going to go through and learn more about shaping metal in here. Whether you're building a rust repair patch panel or, like you said, chopping, channeling, sectioning, Frenching, decking, nosing. All of those things are covered in here, depending on the type of project.
Yep.
So whether you want to build a wide body kit for a vehicle, or whether you want to build a patch panel or build a floor for a vehicle, you can see over here we've got a buck for a P38 belly tanker that somebody is actually fabricating and fitting it to the buck. And if you can want to catch some metal shaping going on, we have an instructor in here doing a little bit of work on a panel.
Oh, wow.
So we've got lots of amazing equipment in here that we have the students have an opportunity to utilize. The pull max, the power hammers are all in there, the shrinkers, the stretchers, it's all in there for the students to utilize.
Dude, that is so cool.
Louver presses, English wheels, bead rolling, it's all covered in here. What do you want to do? And the cool thing that I haven't really talked a lot about is the live work that you get to do.
Mm-hmm.
So this is all student projects in here.
Yep.
So they get to work on their own project. As long as you get through the basics, right? You get those covered. And then the welding and some of the basic metal shaping that we do.
All the core stuff you need to learn.
That's right. This is, it's a gal that's in here that's doing this. This is hers. She's doing it. She wants to learn how to do this. All she had to do is pay for the metal. That's it.
Yep.
Right? We got a student vehicle over here. I'm not quite sure what they're doing to this one. This one just came in. But you can see there's a lot of rust in here. So you might be coming in and doing some rust repair on it. Looks like they built a ladder bar over in chassis for it somewhere. And I think the frame might be over here somewhere. Oh, there it is right there. So he built this whole frame over in chassis fab. And I'm sure he's going to go through and start fitting the body to the frame.
Okay. Heck yeah. It's a good looking frame.
He did an amazing job on this frame. He started with the front suspension and a rear axle, and everything else in between has been custom built.
It's gonna be pretty sweet. We got some artwork on the walls.
We do. So a lot of the artwork's been done by students or faculty. This was actually done by a professional that came in and did a presentation of his artwork on that hood.
That's pretty wicked right there.
We got a vehicle over here that we're putting an engine in, and we did a complete rear suspension on this Trans Am.
That thing's gonna be gnarly. Ooh,
Went through and did a Pro Street rear end on this.
Sweet.
They're starting to shape some flooring to it.
Right?
And this was done over in chassis fabrication.
Okay. Then they're taking straight rod and
doing
more
the metal
to it.
piece. That's right, doing the floor piece.
That's cool.
So it's all about shaping metal. So all of these different projects are for different things. This one's getting some new rocker panels put on it. Because as you see in the artwork up on the wall, we do have a small portion of the Street Rod program that we dedicate to what we call custom paint program.
Right.
So custom paint is just that. We're going to teach students how to use an airbrush, do some pinstriping, work with candies, pearls, use flake. There's all different types of projects that we have them do on a small panel, and they get to learn all those different skills. I got some demonstrations over here, or examples I should say over here. Of the projects that students have done. And you know, my idea what students get to do and learn and play around with. Some of this artwork's done by students, some of it's done by faculty and staff.
Wow.
And there's some more on the other side.
Yeah, I like the WyoTech Eagle. It's awesome.
And we got a really cool project happening right here. This is our 32 Brookville Roadster that we're building.
That is cool. Very
Nice
cool.
little WyoTech project going on.
Yeah. I'm just in hog heaven right now.
Yes, yes. This is a lot of fun. You get to do a lot of different projects in here. Once again, you get through all your projects and you get the opportunity to bring in something that you own and get to work on. I mean, they're building some other little things in here and learning how to weld, and they do a miniature roll pan that they'll finish off and do paint work on as well. But the sky's the limit in here. You want to bring in your old Model A and chop it? Do you want to bring in something, put suicide doors on it? This program's that program. Custom floorboards, you know, anywhere from doing rust repair to full-on body customization. It's done in this program.
Nice. If I could only stay 3 more months.
Well, you always come back.
Yeah, that's true. Let's talk about that. Like, what benefits do WyoTech alumni have in the future coming back to school?
Oh, that's a great question. It really is. Because what happens is a student leaves here and says, you know what, I really wanted to take another program, right? Well, come back and you can take it and it tacks on to your original program that you took back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So you have that opportunity. You also have the opportunity to what we call refresh. So let's say you graduated in 07, right?
Yeah.
Right. You know, I really want to brush up on some other stuff. There is opportunity for you to come back and retake a class free of charge.
Oh.
Yeah.
For free.
So for free. But the only downside is you still have to pay for housing and your food, right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
But you still got to live.
Yeah.
But there are benefits to being an alumni here at WyoTech. Now, it only
cool.
goes back a certain time frame. It's usually about 10 years, right in that area.
Okay.
17. Because technology changes, you know, and so fast. And some of the prerequisites to get to that point changes as well.
Okay.
So we really got to be careful how far back we go.
Right.
And if you've had the opportunity to go out and have an amazing career, would like to give back to the students, who knows, there might be an opportunity for a career here for you.
Okay. Awesome.
So this is our trim and upholstery program next.
Yeah.
So
That's
might wanna
another
check
thing
out
I
this
wish I
over
could
here.
learn.
We talk about all different types of materials that are out there, whether it's cloth, vinyl, leather, the different types of each.
All of it.
All of it. In this class, you're going to learn everything from building a seat from scratch to the different components of a seat. Talking about different seams that are out there. So anywhere from a French seam to a single reinforced seam, a welted seam, I should say. I apologize. But the different seams, the different patterns. So whether you're doing diamonds, tuck and roll, pleats, the different types of designs that are out there and being utilized, full customization.
Right.
So we could talk about buying seat covers all day long and installing them. We want to go way deeper than that.
We want to build the cover itself.
That's
yeah.
right.
The foam, the seat frame,
100%.
everything.
From scratch. And that's half the fun, is learning that piece, because, you know, when you leave WyoTech and you want to get into the trim industry, you know, hopefully you can get into a shop if that's your goal, or a lot of students will go out and try to start their own facilities or own shop.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of success there. Another avenue is we got a lot of aviation companies that come in and really would like our trimmers as well. To go work with Duncan, Elliott, Westar. They come in, they like to grab our students because the students come out of here with a lot of different skills, whether it was automotive and trim, diesel can't take trim, excuse me, but collision and trim. These airline companies or aircraft companies, they need painters, they need interior, whether it's working on their cabinetry, whether it's sewing the material, you know, they need it all. Installing carpet, it's all there.
Nice.
'Cause we talk about carpet, headliners, custom headliners, full floating headliners, convertible tops, vinyl tops, you know, We try to cover every aspect. And if it didn't have upholstery on it originally, we'll show them how to put upholstery on it, right? So anything can be covered. You know,
Yeah.
I like to believe that. These students spend all day sewing. You can see inside our classroom here, we've got 19 sewing machines in here right now.
Oh wow.
This is their classroom.
Neat.
We do a whole bunch of different custom door panels
Oh yeah, that's cool. On the wall
that
there.
they have to build.
Okay.
Gives them different types of skills to make that door panel.
Sure.
Lots of different projects.
That's a pretty big area.
We have an embroidery machine over here, so they can embroider their work. You can see some
Okay.
projects over here. These are some of the basics that we make them do. You know, it's just sewing a embossed eagle to building the door frames or door panels.
Yeah.
Here's a seat that was built from scratch, right? Here's
Okay.
a basic mock-up that we make them go through before they get to their seat with a welted seam and pleats.
Mm-hmm.
To a real basic custom center console.
Okay. Yeah. Nice.
So lots of different projects going on in here. Once again, some of these are customer vehicles. Trim Upholstery is one of the only programs we'll actually do outside work. So a customer in town says, hey, I'd like to get a seat done or a convertible top done.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do their work. But we don't do that in any part of the school.
Right.
So this is the only program. We'll do marine, so boats, jet skis. Then we'll get into snowmobiles, four-wheelers, restaurant, so
Okay.
bar stools, seating in restaurants.
A little bit of everything.
We don't focus on furniture, but we can teach them how to do furniture as well.
Okay.
So
Wow.
it's got to be really special for students to want to really redo furniture.
Yeah. High-end furniture.
High-end furniture, and that's a good way to put it because the cost of furniture. So I mean, I can go down to the store and get a $400 couch, right?
Right.
But to reupholster that couch is going to cost them double.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. On the other side of the wall of upholstery, what do we got here?
So this is our what we call H.P.P.T, high performance powertrains.
Okay. That was not here when I went to WyoTech.
Correct. So we did have some other schools that did have this. So we had a Blairsville campus and we had a
Yep.
Sacramento campus back in the day.
Yep.
They had this program, but it was never offered here as a standalone. This was actually part of the motorsports chassis fabrication program and high performance building. It was all kind of one program at the Laramie campus.
Okay.
So over here, they're going to talk about, it's all about getting more horsepower out of an engine, right? That's really
Right.
what the high performance is all
More HPs.
But we're going to start them off real basic. One of the first basic things we make them do is, can you take an engine out of a car and put it back together? Following OEM standards, it's just a real basic skill.
Okay.
Take it out, put it back in, make sure there's no codes, make sure it operates properly. We'll actually put it on a chassis dyno and make sure that it gets a drivability part to it.
Okay.
Right? Once they're done with that, they're going to do a deep dive in the mechanical side of the engine. So they're going to go through all the components inside this engine and talk about them individually. Understanding all the way from the block to the main caps to getting into your piston and rod selection, the bearing selection, cam selection. What does it take to really build that engine?
They're
Do you
gonna
wanna
they're
build-
be blueprinting the engine.
Blueprinting
basically,
is a good way to
based
put it.
on its application.
Right, but what are you doing with it? Right?
Right.
This is
Yep.
Seth's engine he's putting into a 69 Camaro. What do you want to have? Do I want to have stock? Do I want to bump it up a little bit? Do I want to have 2,000 horsepower?
Yeah.
Right?
Do I
What's
want it to
gonna
have
take?
low end torque, or do we want high end horsepower? You
Are
know?
we going to put nitrous on it? Are we going to supercharge it? Are we going to turbo? We talk about all those components as well.
Right.
But they're going to go through and understand the basics of these engines. Because if we walk over here, you're going to see a bunch of engines on engine stands. That on these engines, they're taking these engines, they're tearing these engines completely apart. All of these engines run now. So when they're done with this engine, it better run
It better
as
run.
well, right? But they're taking these engines 100% apart, doing a lot. Once again, your favorite thing in the world, precision measuring,
Precision
right?
measuring.
Going through, understanding the tolerances, the clearances. What does it mean to plastic gauge something, right?
Right.
Really check the components. And they're going to be putting new bearings in there, re-ringing it in some cases. and they'll put it all back together, learn how to properly degree a cam the
Right.
right way, and
Yes.
understand what that means.
I remember doing that where you got the big blue circle with all the degrees on it, where
Yes,
you're
sir.
actually figuring out the lift and the duration and
Most
all
definitely. So understanding how to degree that. Then on the head side of things, they're going to understand what it means to CC that head, and how do they find the number of CCs that head is. And you can see the flow benches over there.
Oh yeah, so they got flow
The
meters.
super flow benches. So we're actually going to give them a head. They got to port and polish that head, and get
cool.
at least a 5 to 10 horsepower more flow out of that head.
Okay.
Percent gain, I should say.
Yeah, we had that over at Chassis Fab and High Performance. We had the flow benches, and where you had to port and polish a head, and it had to flow a certain percentage more.
And we got Ford, Chrysler, Chevrolet, all in here.
Got
As you
them
can see,
all.
we've got a chassis dyno right here. This is an all-wheel drive dyno.
Oh,
so
wow.
we can use it as a front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, or all-wheel drive.
Okay.
So we'll get them to have a basic understanding of tuning in here. So, hey, we got a standalone fuel map system on this car.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll get in there and have to get this car tuned at its optimum performance level.
Yeah, you've got to see a difference before and after, right?
Correct.
Wow.
Because we go from the mechanical side to the electrical side.
Right.
And then everything in between, live work, right? So the students have an opportunity to bring in his or her own vehicle,
Okay.
bring it in here, and say, I want to rebuild the engine, or maybe they don't even bring in the vehicle. Maybe they just bring in an engine to rebuild. Or we've had a student come in and take his newer Mustang and put a brand new supercharger on it.
Sweet.
So the opportunities are endless. The hardest part, as you could imagine, is parts procurement. What am I going to do to this? So there's a lot of planning that goes in and preparation if a student's going to take this class.
Because you only got so much time.
Correct. So this program, the students come from auto or diesel only. Collision can't take this program.
Okay.
Because they got to go through the mechanicals, the electrical piece of that before they can go into this program.
Yeah, they got to understand engine management systems.
Correct. Most definitely.
It's like a prerequisite for this course. That's awesome.
And the cool thing is if a student builds his or her own engine in here, well, on the other side, we have an engine dyno.
Okay.
So we can break it in here and do all of the things and tune it on the dyno before we even put it in that vehicle.
Awesome. We need to see that.
Yeah, we're going to go there next.
Sweet. Okay. So now, where are we?
So this is our second H.P.P.T class.
Okay.
So this course has become very popular, so we've got two separate classes. We have an A class and a B class.
Okay.
They're both teaching the exact same things. But as you can look over here, you can see we have a few other different style of projects going on.
Right.
You know, this 67 Chevelle, they took, the gentleman that bought that, had H.P.P.T take the engine out of it that was in it, which was a newer LT1. And we're going back to a 427.
Oh, wow.
We're putting a custom exhaust on it to where we got some vehicles that are getting ready to looks like to have some engine work done to them.
It's a nice K5.
It is.
Those are near and dear to my heart.
You can see them getting some stuff done on the super flow bench over here for the heads. They're going through and flowing them out.
Okay.
And then we've got another dyno, chassis dyno, right here in the ground. It's an
Oh, it's in the
in-ground dyno
floor?
on this
Okay.
one. So front wheel drive or rear wheel drive. If we need an all-wheel drive, we just send it over there to the other side.
Okay.
And then we've got our engine dyno over here.
Well, look at all the parts. Now we're talking.
Looks like they've been having a little fun on this today.
Oh yeah, look at that. We can feel that air.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
So In here, the primary focus has been more gas-related engines. We have done some diesel stuff, but it hasn't been as much of a focus. But we can do it all, essentially.
This is all about going suck, squeeze, bang, blow in the most proficient way possible.
Most definitely.
I want to give this hat to Zeth, a friend of ours, and WyoTech was the only company in John Deere's history, to my knowledge, that got approval from John Deere corporate to join the WyoTech logo with the John Deere logo, and it would have happened in about 1991 or 1992. And we came up with a design, ran it by them, and had an official letter from corporate of John Deere authorizing us to use it. And again, I think it was the only time John Deere was able to, or WyoTech, or an outside company, was able to get authorization to join and touch logos.
Wow.
So Zeth,
Awesome. Thank you very much.
very welcome.
That is so cool.